What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. This is the first actual software video that we're making on this channel. And I have something crazy to show you. This is going to be kind of all over the place, but it has to be because the way you build these, I guess this is called vibe coding right now, is kind of sporadic. But for someone that's non-technical like me, and I'm sure like a lot of you guys, if you want to build apps and software, you can now do it with AI. So what you're seeing right here is School. I cloned School because I love their forum, but I love the rest of WAP, and I don't like the rest of School. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to use Telegram for AI insiders. This is our super high level AI sort of mastermind. It's like, I don't want to use Telegram. So the last like 3-4 days, I have basically cloned School. And you can see here, they have all the tabs, right? So we have our channels like wins, announcements, etc. Then we have the ability, watch this. So these are all unread. If I click into one of these are all like test messages, but it shows views, comments, likes. I can see the comments here in a thread. I can even delete and edit the posts. And then it reads the post and it's like hidden. I'm not gonna click here because I think this shows some of my private like keys and stuff on here, but the security of this doesn't really matter because our community, it's all OAuth by WAP. But what we have done is built an app inside of WAP, and it's basically an iframe embedded software using this software right here called Loveable. So I'm going to walk through in this video exactly how I built this as a non-technical. This is the first software that I have personally built myself that uses a database and all this proper stuff. And I don't know what I can show and maybe what people can fuck with. I have no idea. I'm not technical. But I built a fully working software. So let's start with what it does, and then we'll kind of go through how it works. So this works just like School. I can make a new post. So I'm going to say general. I cloned School. Hello. Create post. Go back to general. Look at that. I cloned School. Boom. This is my profile picture. And then you can see right here, I just had another student test this, Mr. Caden. It came up under his profile. So this actually uses WAP's SDK. I don't even know what SDK stands for. It's something with the login and authentication and like tokens and all this kind of shit. And basically, when they click continue with WAP, from inside of our app, it just authenticates their actual WAP account and says, hey, like you're logged in, you're a member of AI Insiders. Awesome, you're logged in. This is your profile. And it links everything to their account. So this is literally a fully functioning School with our branding, with the same color scheme. Absolutely insane. So how did I build this? Well, we're going to go back to the start because there's a lot. Like you guys, look at this. This was every interaction I had to have to build this. Actually, this was just like yesterday. It goes and goes and goes and goes. This probably took me like 100 different prompts back and forth. Okay, so what the problem was when I was building this, and we'll scroll to the very start. I want to show you guys the beginning of how I built all of these because I haven't built a lot of standing apps with databases, but I have used Loveable and all these tools a lot to build like interfaces or like a UI or like an MVP for Kendo. So I actually will pop this up on the screen. I have a drawing on my iPad that I used to develop the new version of Kendo and while I'm scrolling up here. And I actually popped it into here and I said, hey, turn this into this UI with this design. And then I just gave that to my real dev and we hard coded that into Next.js and into React. So I'm non-technical. So the first idea was I was going to basically, let's see if I can expand this. This was built in Loveable. I was basically going to build everything in here and not use WAP. But that's just too much pain in the ass. And so I decided we'll host the course in WAP. And then we're just going to build this community here. So you can see, I'm going to start at the first message here. Okay, that's all database structure stuff. Where's the first message? Okay, so this was the first message. I pulled up, I guess I'm a part of this. Or no, I'm not a part of this. I just typed in School. This was the first thing that came up. And so I took this screenshot. Now, this is the UI that I really like, is this forum sort of style with different tabs here. So I told it, hey, I want to clone School. It didn't do it perfectly. So then I said it should be more like this. Here's a visual example. And if you've watched my previous prompt video on this channel, you have to understand how to prompt AI, especially these sort of like no code, easy code tools with visuals, with the different methods we showed in that last video, and kind of taking it, fixing it, giving it back, screenshotting something you don't like, giving it back, and repeating that process. So you can see here, to actually get the functionality, right here, I basically took a picture of my landing page. This isn't even public yet. I said, hey, I want this branding and this color scheme. And you can see it actually nailed that pretty well, right? It's the same colors. So from here, all I did was I gave it the branding. I said clone school. I said the UI is wrong. Fix the UI. Make the green this color code. Let's see here. And then this was where the database stuff started to come in. So to actually host this, we use a software called Supabase. This just connects directly with Loveable, okay? I don't know how to necessarily build databases right now. And again, I'm going to be careful clicking around. I don't want to show any like private stuff. But basically, this database is hosting their auth ID, their user IDs, their emails, the forum categories, and then it saves all of the posts. And it saves basically all the data that's coming in from using a software and a tool like this. And so all I had to do, like I know you're expecting some craziness, all I had to do was give it a picture, say clone school, make it like this. Change this UI, make it this color code, change this, make this function work. And then this is where we get into the nitty gritty. For example, this was the first color. This didn't look good, right? So I said, hey, this needs to be a lighter charcoal color so it's easier to read. And the highlighted posts look weird. Can you improve the colors and designs? So then it fixed it. And then it actually looked really good. Then the next big thing was if I want to embed this into WAP, how do I do that? And well, that's where we came up with basically something I've learned, and this is a big hack for you guys. We are able to one-shot any N8N prompt because I basically scraped every single documentation that they have publicly available. We turned it into a big JSON context profile that is then project instructions. So we did the same thing with WAP. So all of this documentation, so like how to use their API, how to do the login with WAP, how to do this like OAuth authentication stuff, and all this like code jargon nonsense that none of us understand. I basically gave this all to Loveable and said, hey, here's all of this documentation. And you can see it's going through step by step, like introduction, the iframe setup with SDK, React is just code language, the user stuff, the OAuth, like integration, all of this. And so the tricky part was getting this to actually embed here within WAP so that people can go from like the course, let this load briefly. So they can go to like the course and then go straight back into like this community. And it actually works, right? Look, we just got another test right here. Christian just tested this. So it looks like it's working. I finally got it to work. But then we had all these problems. I spent probably all of this, like, dude, this was hours of chatting with this thing. Back and forth. It would not work. I could not get the OAuth to work. I couldn't get the right user interface to work. Like I would click this button and then an error would come up. And then I'd get like a 404 error. And then I'd get like a 400 error. And all these different errors. And these are all things that I had to like Google and figure out like what is half of this. But eventually I had the idea of, okay, instead of just doing this auto login by auto detecting, I think it wasn't able to pass the tokens through. So I basically just prompted it and said, hey, let's just make this like bubble where there's a button where they click and then they log in. And then once they're logged in, then it authenticates, then it passes tokens, and then it does all the OAuth sort of stuff in the back end. So all I had to do, I can't click into the WAP app tab because it'll show like our private keys and stuff. But all I had to do was go to WAP and basically get the API key, get the client secret key, get the user ID, and then the user agent ID. And then basically give that to Loveable and say, hey, here's what I want to do. Building the actual user face was easy, or the interface was really easy, and the design, that's all like a piece of cake with this. But I just gave it all of the information that it needs to pass the keys. I told it to go create the things in the database, in Supabase that I needed, like all the logs, all the storage, all the authentication, all this. Again, I can't click into that stuff. And then it was finally able to actually authenticate all this. And you can see, like I'll skip through to this most recent one here. like one big problem was the profile images were getting warped. And so let's see if that fixed. That looks like it fixed. This is not warped at all. This is actually like 1:1 aspect ratio. So good. So guys, I'm going to give you some tricks now because I know this is kind of like, oh, okay, cool, you built this, but like how? When you're building something, we're actually going to start a brand new project just so I can show you guys. So let me publish this real fast. Okay, so we are going to build something together just so that I can show you guys sort of my process for going through this. And I actually want to show you some of the past things that we've done. I don't know if this is the account that had all of this on here. This might be it actually. So I had this idea. We haven't fully implemented this yet, and this UI is wrong, but I had this idea of basically, I took this drawing and I was like, I want to be able to gamify Kendo a little bit better. So like when a sales rep sees their stats, they can see where they rank. And we're going to be rolling this out as well. It's not live right now, but this was the concept. I drew this on my iPad. And then I just uploaded this to Loveable and I said, create a daily quest and ranking dashboard with fantastical, beautiful badges and styling. I was picturing like the gold scar from Fortnite as a badge, right? And you can see after some prompting, look what we ended up getting. Like that's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool, right? And so a lot of this is like nonsense and I would remove a lot of this. But the cool stuff was like this. And so now I want to show you guys, for example, like this was when we were purple instead of this light mode. So this was the old UI that we used to have. So you can see it kind of matched it. So now if I want to actually match this UI, okay, so I'm going to log into Kendo and I'm going to screenshot a couple things here. So I'm going to screenshot this. I like these cards. And I also probably will screenshot this because I feel like this design is pretty good. This took us a lot of work to do. This is a new version of Kendo, by the way. So I'll screenshot, we'll probably just cut it off there. And so now I'm going to take these back and I want to change this UI. So we're just going to, again, I'm just going to go with this as an example to show you guys. There's things I don't like here, there's things I do like. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to upload these two images. So I'm going to upload these. I'm going to say, update the UI to match the actual Kendo AI software attached above. And remember, you got to be specific. So match the purples exactly and use this clean, minimalistic design shown in the images. Keep the badges and their animations, though. I like those a lot. So let me change this so I'm not giving AI typos. And now this should actually probably work pretty well. So let's see the result we get here. So this is not hooked up to anything right now. This is just staged here in this Loveable. So I'm probably going to get a decent result, and then I'm going to have to change that and prompt that from there. And I'll actually go through this like I'm doing real product design, like I would on Kendo. So we'll, just to humor the teaching of this video, we'll actually change this to be exactly what I'm going to roll out with Kendo, at least what we can do here without having to do custom code in React. But you can see here little things that I had prompted earlier, like the floating, the animations right here, the card or the badge animations, I really like that. But the coloring is all wrong. They did get the corner of the UI, like the corners here are rounded. I think this is like 25 pixels or something. So they got that part. So let's see what we, oh, okay, it's in process. I was about to say that's bad. So let's wait a second and see what we get here. Okay, so we can see here that it updated a bit of stuff, but not everything. So we're going to go, okay, as the body copy, make the achievement icons purple backgrounds till you hover over them. Actually, we'll see. Let's do that one first. What else do we not like? The daily challenges was a good idea. Onboarding journey. Level 7 sales agent. Oh yeah, let's make these. So we'll make these changes first and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it says it did something for me, but I don't see it. So we're gonna click update. This is basically the save state button when you're into progress. So I always click update after everything I do because you can always go back to this bubble and restore. So let me refresh this. Okay, looks like it still didn't understand. So when they don't understand, this is what I do. I screenshot things and I just give it to it. These were not changed. Make them all purple to match the UI provided above. Okay, so it looks like we've got all the changes minus, I think the green bar is fine actually, minus these. So again, to change those, we're just going to screenshot. And I usually just yell at it. I say, this does not match the UI at all. Change it to fit the global UI design. So let's change this last part, and then I want to show you guys something really cool. Boom, look at that. Now we're looking proper. Now we have some good UI. So this looks pretty good. If I were designing, for example, like an MVP, or I were trying to build something to show visually to a team that I actually wanted this coded, this is what I would do. Now, let's say I want to build something like usable, something like technical. So I think I have actually. So another one that I built for Kendo, this is super cool. So if you go to kendo.ai/cost, you have this beautiful calculator. And this is an algorithm combined with great UI that updates. So I can basically send this to prospects and be like, oh, you have 10 sales reps and they're going to do like 15 days of 20 minutes training a month. You're going to be paying this much, depending on how many seats you have. And so we have scalable tiered pricing for enterprise. And so this is so much easier than me doing the math every time. And so again, I thought, this was about a month ago, I was like, I'll just build this with AI. So I don't have to pay my dev to do it, so you can focus on the real product. So I built this, and I actually took this code. So I basically took all of this code that made this, and I plugged this into Claude code, and Claude ended up spitting it out in this beautiful, like more well-designed, like with this purple gradient and things here, just so it matches our branding a little bit better. Like this looks like it was built natively into our website. And so this is on Framer, which is React. So I basically take that code from Loveable, because Loveable one-shots this. Like you can see here, I added the pricing somewhere, like making little changes. I think, I gave it the pricing here in this sort of like JSON table. And I said, hey, here's my pricing. Update this calculator to fit that pricing. And then here's the functionality that I want. And then I just plugged it into Claude, and I said, hey, make this a React so I can embed it into Framer as an editable component. And so now in my website, I have this fully working, beautiful thing. And now I've done this for a few other things, especially here on the website, like this calculator down here. Like this actually shows the math that you're gaining or losing if you were to use Kendo. So if I had 5 sales reps at a 15% close rate with these stats, this is what Kendo would do for me based on our actual user data. And this is the return that I would see from using Kendo. This is really cool, and it's a good way to articulate value to people. And I built this, again, with Loveable and with Claude Code. So not only can you build these UIs, but you can build functional things as well, just like this. And so taking this all the way back, building school and cloning it and putting it into a editable, usable, functional app inside of WAP. So there's really no limit to what you guys can build. The one thing that is a downside from these is security. So I would, if I were you, I would build these, then I would have a real technical person go through and do the database stuff. For example, if you guys have seen this app got leaked. Yeah, here it is. The T app was vibe coded and their database was just publicly available. And so every woman that made a profile got leaked, and their face verification photos are now leaked because they didn't have proper security. And now this company's probably going to die. Like that's it's really bad. You can't have that happen. So I know this video is all over the place, but guys, this is so cool. You can build anything. I'm about to build a lot of really cool shit, and this is something that we teach inside of Insiders as well. So good news, AI Insiders is actually officially open. If you want to join, just book a call, link in the description. We're doing all this kind of stuff, how to make money, how to write copy, how to actually prompt engineer, and build a real AI business. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this kind of inspires you a little bit and gets that AI creative juices flowing. And I'll see you guys on the next video.